The beauty about God is that when we find ourselves in positions where we are now classified as impure, and we plunge ourselves, the enemy plunge us into seasons or emotions where we feel as though God no longer needs us. That's when he's really stretching out his hands and he's saying, it's not really me that needs you, but it's really you that needs me now more than ever. And God is not saying you need me and then he's leaving us. He's saying you need me, and he's putting himself in our way so that we can see that we cannot overcome the enemy by ourselves. These sins, we cannot overcome them by ourselves, but he is there to guide us. He is there to lead us. He's there to direct our paths if we only trust his unchanging hands. Hey bloomers, I am Danielle Fraterton. Welcome back to another episode of Blooming by Grace, a space where we use grace to chart our journey. We all have encountered challenges, fairs or failures, but no matter what it is, this is a place. It is the only space where we will bloom. And darlings, we're not just blooming, but we're blooming by grace. Thank you to all my new subscribers, for those who continue to like, share, who continues to subscribe, who continues to tell their friend, to tell their uncle, to tell their cousin that we're over here and we're blooming by grace. Go ahead even now and remember to like the video, like up the likes. Ooh, I have a friend that would say, like up the likes, people, like up the likes, yeah. Like up the likes. But today we're going to talk about another interesting topic, just like this one that many persons do not want to talk about. It's a big taboo. And because of that, especially nowadays where we're in a state where the internet has become a big thing, and even the young knows about sex and sexual activities. And due to that, many persons, like I've had friends in the past that not really in the past, but I've had friends that really struggle where this is concerned. And because of that, sometimes it's almost like there is no hope and they'd rather stay outside of the church because they just feel like there is no hope. But today I'm stopping by to let you know that sex, it's really not sin. And when I say it's not sin, I'm not saying that we must just go out and do it, because this we know that it was created in the confines of marriage. So the reason why we don't talk about this thing is because we feel like it's a big taboo topic and it is so sin. It's a big sin. But it's not a sin. When it becomes a sin is when it is done outside of marital constraints. That's when it becomes a sin. But when I was growing up, like, that was never how it was thought. It was thought like, yes, it's a sin, and even inside of marriage, it's a sin. And so sometimes, well, that's how it seemed when persons would talk about it. And so you never really had a community to talk about this thing because it was classified as dirty and nasty and something not to talk about. But as I said, like, this topic has just been resting on me heavily, to be honest, because I've seen a lot of persons go through the motions of this thing, and most of whom they feel like they're trash and they just need to leave the church. Others of which would say, I'm not gonna come to church as yet because I don't want to come to church and I have to do this, or I love this thing so much that I can't leave it to come to church just yet. I have to it's too nice and I really have to fix up myself before I come. But this, my friend, is an error. This is what the enemy uses as a weapon to keep you outside of church, outside of the presence of God, because we were taught that it is so dirty, it's a sin. Of course, yes, it's a sin outside of the context of marriage. But even so, God desires you to renew your purity walk with him. And you cannot do it on your own. You cannot do it if you stay outside of his presence. You have to come. It's almost like, let's allude it to the lady at the well, the woman at the well. She was hiding because she did not want anybody to know that this was what she was struggling with. You are hiding because you don't want anybody to know that this is what I'm struggling with. But God already knows. He sits high and he looks low. That means he's seeing every single thing that's happening inside the world. He sees that you want to stop, but you cannot because you just don't know how to do it, and you feel so hooked, and you're like half-hearted. So like you're like,
God, I'm over here, but I'm also over here, and it's not right, I know, and I'm so ashamed, like, I just can't stay in your presence.
He knows that. But outside of his presence, you cannot fix it either. You cannot fix it when you keep running away from him. He's saying to you, young woman, young man, this is what you are struggling with, and I know, but come to me and I will help you to fix it. Is it going to take a day? Is it going to take 2 months? Is it going to take 3 months? Who knows? Sometimes it's when you're there and it happens, and you're there and you're like, Lord, it happened again. He knows. And sometimes you're so ashamed, you don't even want to go back to him. You're like, you don't want to see me, because even sometimes persons that know about it, they're probably like bickering, and as we classify these things as secret sins, because they're not many persons would see you in action, and because nobody's seen you in action, is classified as secrecy, and the enemy is using that which is done in secret to kill you slowly. But God wants us as young people to know that there is hope. You don't have to try to figure it out on your own. Many of us, we all struggle with different things, but he looks beyond our faults and he sees our needs. He's looking beyond your flesh, and he's seeing a deeper desire for him. But you have to acknowledge that, like me coming here and telling you is not even enough. You have to look in yourself and realize that this is something that I need God to help me with. Is it going to be easy? No. Because there are going to be consequences. Even if you don't get pregnant, there are going to be consequences of this thing. But the consequences, if you're supposed to weigh them over you staying in that particular place and losing your soul because you're trying to figure it out on your own, and God is saying to you, child, just come 13-year-old, 12-year-old, 11 or 19, 15-year-old, 23-year-old, however year old you are, however old you are, God is saying to you, just come to me and I will help you. But if you continue to stay out, or if you continue to put yourself on the outskirts, if you continue to stay in the enemy's camp, then I cannot help you. Many persons that you see currently in the church, many persons had already gone through it. You don't have anybody you can talk to, and that is fine. You know, interestingly, you see, when we fall into these sins, just any amount of sin, but especially those that really grips our minds, you see, the day you overcome is the day you can use that as a weapon. That now becomes your weapon. It now becomes your testimony to somebody else, to let them know that, look, God had delivered me from this thing. And sometimes when you're there and you're like, God, excuse the noise in the background. Hopefully it's not in the video. That's the washing machine. And sometimes you're like, God, you've forgiven me several times over and I keep doing it. But the thing that you have to understand is that when you do it this time and you ask for forgiveness, and you do it another time and you ask for forgiveness, you're becoming more conscious of it. But when you no longer ask for forgiveness, or when you no longer put yourself in a place where God can say, I see you and I'm working it out for you, then you literally become a playground for the enemy to destroy you. Nobody is saying, God is not saying to you, probably persons are saying it, but this is what God is not saying to you. He's not saying to you, try to figure it out on your own. He's not saying to you, as soon as you come to me, then you will stop doing it altogether. No, he's saying to you, I will take you through the stages until you are made whole. I will purify you again. I will purge you again. I will make you anew. I will cleanse you so that you can become that product that I have called you to be. And as I've earlier said, these things helps to build your character, and it helps you as an individual to, when you get older, or even in the same space and even in the same time of you going through it and you seeking God amidst your failures, seeking God amidst your impurity, then he can literally say, okay, she's seeking me, he's seeking me, and I'm gonna see about her. And you become stronger. Surrendering is you taking tiny steps every day to acknowledge that you are sinful. You are marred on every side. But God is saying to you, no matter the sin, especially that big sin, as people would classify it as this big sin thing, God is saying to you, I can make you whole. Do not stay out. Even the persons, that was for the persons that are in the church and they're doing it but they're hiding. Especially I'm talking to people like I'm talking to people of my age group now, because maybe the older ones are in a different category, but I'm talking to the ones as young as I am, and even as younger, or even just around the same age group. To you, no miss, or to you, no sir, that is outside of the church, and you're like, I can't get a hold of this thing and I just can't seem to get enough of it. And if I come now, like, me not go and come at church. Oh, let me translate for those of my nice people that are not Jamaicans. I'm not going to come to church and be doing this like a hypocrite. The persons that are doing this and in church, they're hypocrites and all of that. Listen, we are on a journey called life. Life, and life is lifing. You are Christian, non-Christians alike. The enemy will attack us. Because as I made mention in one of my other videos, the one recently done, that the enemy will try to oppose us on every side. He doesn't like any of us, and his duty is to keep us bound. And so if this is the particular sin that he's using to hold you, of that sin of the flesh that he's using to hold you, and it's almost like it's a stronghold. It is a stronghold on you, and you can't seem to figure it out. God is saying to you, you don't have to figure it out on your own. You don't have to wonder if I come tomorrow, or if I give my life to God tomorrow, if I'm going to have to deal with this tomorrow and I'm going to turn back. Christianity is a process. Life is a process. And so we got to take it one step at a time. And while God is giving us grace, it's on us to receive it. Because sometimes we're so hard on ourselves when we fall that we are like,
oh Lord, have mercy, and have mercy this, and have mercy that, and
we curl up and we listen to the bickerings of the enemy.
You are not anything. You cannot make it. Just turn back now. You're too far. That sin thing is capturing you.
Listen. The same way in the scriptures, how God left the 99 to go in search of that one, that's the reason why God gave us grace. His grace is what he used to welcome us back into his presence. He gives it to us, his grace and his mercies. Every single morning his mercies are renewed. And if we remember that whatever sin you would have committed last night or yesterday morning or yesterday or last week or last year, it's not your duty to bring it around as a baggage. He's saying burdens are lifted at Calvary. But if you don't want to leave this sin thing, then that sin thing will not leave you. And it will cost you your soul. God is not asking you to do it on your own. He's saying, I can heal you from it. I can deliver you from it. I can make you whole. God is saying, I can do it for you, but you gotta let me do it. He's saying, child, you don't have to figure it out on your own. He's saying, young man, you don't gotta do it another time. Or even if you do it with me in mind, and after you've done, come to me and let me help you so you don't do it a second time. And if you have done it a second time, he's saying, I'm working on you so you don't do it a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth time. It's hard and you're like, my flesh, this thorn in my skin is keeping me bound. The thorn is not there to keep you bound. The thorn is there to remind you today and tomorrow and for however long you have to deal with it, that we are sinful beings and we need God to make it out. It is not by might, nor is it by power, but it is simply by the Spirit of the living God. We were created by God, and due to sin, that we have to deal with this sin thing. God sees and he knows everything that we are doing, but he is extending hope to you today, and he's saying you don't have to keep going back to the same person. You don't have to keep going back to the same place. I can make you whole. He's saying even if you come today and tomorrow you go back, that is fine. You just need to just keep surrendering to me and I will help you to overcome that hurdle. But if you stay in the place that you are now, if you stay in the place of comfort, and if you allow the enemy's lies to keep you bound, then you will not experience deliverance. It is possible. I mean, for some persons it was evident because they had to bear the humility, for some the disgrace, for some the disappointment, to others for bearing a child. But that is a blessing to you. It might not look like that now, but it is. But even you, God is saying, I want to renew your purity journey. I want to help you to start afresh. I want to help you to become, even for those who are attracted to the same sex and all that. God is saying to you today, if you help me, I can. If you allow me to come in, I can fix the error. Not everybody is going to have the bliss of getting married and that's to where you give up your treasure. For some it would be way before that. But even so, God is saying, I am the renewer. I am the lifter up of your head. And because of that, I can help you to walk the narrow path. It's a process. It's not going to take place one time. You're doing it today. Listen, oh God, man, like if only us as young people would just see God just reaching out to us, his merciful hands just extended to us, for us to understand that there is nothing that you can do that will stop his love. But there is going to be a day where he cannot extend love anymore, because it would have been too much. He is now extending it to you, and while you have the opportunity, he's saying to you, receive it today. Nobody make you feel bad. Again, let me translate. Do not allow anybody to cause you to feel bad because of the journey that you are now on. God is not condemning you. But he's saying you gotta come, you gotta confess to me that which I already know, so that I can make you whole, so that I can turn your mess into a message, your test into a testimony, so that I can make you a messenger. God is saying to you today, child, I have done it for several other young persons. I can do it for you too. God have delivered me. He can deliver you. You can go and watch my other video. I mean, we struggle with this thing on different areas in our lives. We struggle with it in different areas of our lives, but God is saying to you today, no matter how far you are, it doesn't matter who you think you are, it doesn't matter how messed up you think you are, females and males alike, He's saying, I can help you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You're struggling with it. He sees that you're struggling. Your emotions are rising on every side. You're pressed. But if you just allow God, if you just see the merciful hands of God calling you even now, then He will help you. He will help you, like He will literally help you. God sees and He knows exactly what we have to experience, especially as young people, especially as teenagers, when your feeling starts rising at its peak, when you just have to deal with all that emotions. It's nature. For some, it's like nature is calling. But God, He is able to transform your lives and to make you whole. He is able to make you wholly thine. At the end of the day, there's hope. There's hope for whatever situation you're in, whatever sin thing you're struggling with. God is saying to you today, especially where hormones and all that is concerned, He's saying to you today, you are not too dirty for God to cleanse. You are not too broken for God to mend. You are not too far for God to reach, nor are you too guilty to fall at His feet. Don't let anybody condemn you. God has not condemned you. He's still calling you. Yes, you're ashamed, but He's saying come. Yes, you're guilty, but He's saying come. Yes, you just don't want to come. You feel crippled, you feel weighed down, you feel burdened, but He's saying come unto me, those who are labored, those who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Many have a story, not many will tell, but God is saying, I can make your mess into a message. I can make your messed up. You're messed up now. You're messed up. You're messing up. But it's not about you. We are in a war, and because we are in a war, God will help you to overcome. Have yourselves a blessed whenever you watch this. See you next time. Goodbye.